Well, hello again. It's Ian from Unique Cars and Parts, and I'm with Keith and his what I would consider to be very rare these days, HK GTS Monaro. And not just any HK GTS Monaro. This one's powered by the 327.
Yes, true. Yes.
And the 327 is a rare beast in Holden parlance because it came out for one model and one model only. Am I correct in saying it, aren't I?
Yes. Yep.
And so obviously it was the HK that it was fitted to.
Yep. Only HK 327s. No other model had it. Particularly, supposedly option for Bathurst, but that's only a myth that the Holden put out. But technically they call them a Bathurst model. So you couldn't get this engine in the other model except for this particular model here. It wasn't available across the range of Holden cars. That's a better way to put it, I suppose. So, yeah.
And the yellow colour, I'm guessing that's original.
Yes, Warwick yellow. It's called Warwick yellow.
And Warwick yellow was a bit of a hero colour for GM at the time, wasn't it?
Yes, Bruce McVie won Bathurst in this particular colour, and the Sandown 3 Hour with Bob Watson a couple of weeks earlier, and Dino Dave Bennett, who had perfect tune cylinder heads, had the same car at the same time, and of course Norm Beachy. So the four of them paved the way for the particular model. So yeah.
And one of the interesting things about this particular car that you've I'm guessing restored,
Yes,
Keith.
Yes.
You've restored it, but you've done it to a sort of a race trim. Is that correct?
Yes, I do run it on track and club events. So
This car would be worth a couple of $100,000.
Yes, it is. Both of them are. It's hard to believe that common old Holden would be worth that much money, but it's like everything in now. It's a nostalgia and what they call provenance, which is like race history. So that helps a lot, of course. So, but no, 50 years on, and we're still here, and we're still enjoying them. So
well, the HK GTS 327 is very rare these days,
yes.
and to see one in its original colour I'd be too scared to put $200,000 worth on the racetrack myself. So obviously you're confident in your driving skills.
Oh, look, you don't go 10/10. It's up to yourself. You can either run it into the Armco railing or into a wall, or just drive it normally. But it's very, very, very. It doesn't handle 100%, but it's the whole part about it. It's fun. You wrestle with it. Simple as that.
Okay, and this would have Armstrong steering too, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's got actually. I'll put power steering to make it easier, but originally it had just what they call a 16-to-box ratio, which was, again, you have to have Conan the Barbarian muscles to try and drive it. But I've made it a bit easier to make it steer better.
Okay.
So yeah. But otherwise, no, it's still fantastic. It still rides like a truck because they had very heavy suspension. But that's, again, the whole thing about it. The whole myth of the thing, they rode like a truck. They're American designed because they're only designed to go in a straight line. They never do go around corners like typical American car. And this was Holden's first attempt at a race car and a big car. Before that, it was only small Holden, and a V8, of course. So
yeah, the HK was like the stretched model of the previous HR.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So Holden went for the V8, being a bigger model car and a bigger car, and the American concept was having small compacts of V8. So
to my eyes, I've always thought of the HK as being the one that really started to look very American, and I think that went all the way through to the HQ.
Well, the long speedos were typical American design at the time. Because generally what General Motors did was have to copy off what they're doing in America. So the Americans had the final say on design. So Holden, even though they're built here, Americans had the final design. So
that's design speedo. What's the correct term for that? It's like a long sweep, isn't it?
Yeah, long sweep, yes. Sweep, yes. So,
and it was going in the HT and made a comeback in the HJ about 5 models later.
Exactly right, yeah. It's funny how it came back like that. But again, they may have done it in America, I don't know. It might have been the dash design. As I said, they follow what happens in America. Generally what happens in America, you do here. So it's sad, no, we're not going to see that anymore. So this is why these cars have gone up, because they're not going to be built anymore, simple as that. So all Holdens now are fetching a lot of money. So no matter what you buy now, even the old common E8s is $20,000-$25,000 now. So
and that's for one in average condition.
Exactly. Yes.
That's a restorer.
Yeah. It's just a sad situation. We're not going to do it here. But no, look, I've loved these since I could Well, I couldn't afford one when I first came out because I was struggling $24 a week apprentice. So I had to wait and wait and wait till one came up, and this was missing the engine, and of course wasn't in this condition. And that was my hobby to get it back to condition, I suppose you could say. So
the way you speak about it, Keith, I'm thinking you'd lose the house before, and maybe even the wife before you'd lose the car.
This will go in the box with me when I drop dead. So a big coffin.
And I'm looking inside, and I can see that it looks very, very stock, except for the racing seat.
And the seat, yes.
Everything looks stock, including the original radio,
Yes.
and it's got the original 4-speed
Yes.
floor-mounted transmission, which was a big thing back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's trendy to have because everyone drew a manual was on the column. To get a 4-speed, you'd have to buy a BMC car or a Mini or something like that to get a 4-speed on the floor. But this is the novelty about it too.
So was this the first Australian Holden that came with a 4-speed on the floor?
HR came out with the Opal gearbox before that. You could get an option on that, but you had to buy the 186 engine to do it. So it made it a bit more expensive, I suppose. But otherwise, no, you could. Once the HK came out, you could option this gearbox on any model, right from the lowest model. So that's the whole beauty of it. You could get the gearbox what you wanted. You could buy a $2,500 Monaro or Kingswood and have a 4-speed gearbox. So the option range on these was like a million options you could get.
Even on the HK GTS, I would have thought that it came standard with every option.
On this car only, you can only get manual, but when they and you can get a power glide on the 350 on the HT, but HK 327 only had manual gearbox only.
And thank goodness for that, hey?
Yes, yep, that made us minute. But now I put the racing seat in because of I was sliding around too much on the old vinyl seat, of course.
Yeah, look, the vinyl seats do look good, and you've got a race harness on the passenger seat.
So I was sliding one way and the seat was going the other way.
So do you take passengers? You have a.
Occasionally I might, yes, but I'm a bit worried taking someone on track anyway in case something happens because they might sue me or something. So, look, I'll give them a brisk run somewhere, but generally on the track I don't take anyone. The reason why I've got the harness on the other side because the old lap saps belts used to slide off because they were in the height, along a low point here, where the old harness here, lap used to bolt here and would come across, but the old lap sash would fall off all the time. So, and of course, you're in an accident or something like that, you wouldn't have safety. So I put the harness in, a second harness in for the passenger to be nice and safe. So, also too, it's got a what call Australian rating, which is A35 or E35. So. This hasn't got Australian rating, it's actually a European rating, so it doesn't matter if I get killed as long as the passenger doesn't get killed.
Well, that's pretty important. Yeah. Now, looking at the car, I can see these are not stock wheels.
No, they're aftermarket race tyres. Okay. So.
And is that similar to what they would have run at Bathurst?
No, they ran radials. They ran Michelin radials, which are a common street radial. Before that, they originally came out on like a large cross pry. They called it a wide oval, which is an American tyre. So these came out. I put them on when I do the racing, of course, because they grip like lasers, of course. Once you get them warm, they stick like unbelievable. So that's why I put them on, because the old radials, you just wear them out in no time, plus they'd squeal and carry on. And these grip very well. Be surprised how good they are when they get warm. So,
and, yeah, the tread pattern gives it away.
Yes.
Any good in the wet?
Little bit. They're supposed to be good in the wet, but the tread's not enough. It's got a big tread, but you've got to be careful. That's a better way to put it. So, yeah.
I was just speaking to Dennis, and he's got a HQ LS Monaro up there, and he says it never goes out in the rain except to a club event, and then if it's raining, he'll still attend because these are quite important. Does this one see rain?
Last time I saw rain would be 16 years ago. Yeah.
So the short answer is no.
Yeah. I did a hill climb down at Morwell, and it poured all the way down and poured all the way home. So.
and how did it account for itself at the hill climb?
Good, enjoyed it. Yeah, it's actually old Morwell hill climb. I've done the new one, but I don't like the new one. But the old one was terrific. There's being sort of man-made or being natural, but this one, new one's now is man-made, and it's done especially for the championship. So it's very off-camber, on-camber, so it wears you out a bit. So you like this all the time. So
just keep running through the things that you've changed on it. Wheels, seat, you've put in power steering.
Yes.
Still no aircon, I'm guessing.
No, they didn't come out with the power steering.
You're not going to do anything to take any power away.
No, why? No, I'll come around today with a warm upholstery. It gets a bit hot in there, but you just put the window down like we used to years ago anyway. So,
and look, and something that may be of interest to somebody who's looking at doing up a HK Monaro or HK in general, are parts easy enough to find, and specifically with the 327, can you still get parts and keep?
Oh, the engine is just a common old Chevrolet engine, and they made 90 million of them, so there's still plenty of those around.
Do you get the parts in Australia, or you get them ex?
Yes, lots of wrecking yards around. So if you want an engine, that's the most easiest part to get the engine. Gearbox parts are getting a little bit scarce. Body panels.
What's the manufacturer of the gearbox?
It's a Sagnor, made in America. Okay, so it's called a Sagnor. Virtually a truck gearbox. Yeah. So they come out in the early Corvettes, and later on the Corvettes had the Muncie gearbox, and the later model on the HQs come out with a Muncie, which is sort of the same gearbox but a bit more compliant. In other words, these are very noisy and are very clunky. So again, being like a truck gearbox, they're very, very hard to shift and all over the place. You don't know, half the time you don't know which gear you're in. So,
but if just by listening to that, I'm getting the impression that they would be very reliable and very robust.
They're quite strong. Anything that's like that, I suppose. The gears are quite big inside and the shafts are quite big. There's no doubt they'll take a little bit of horsepower, there's no doubt, but it's just that they're very rough, that's all. They're not nice and quiet like the modern gearbox today, so very whiny through the gears. So, yeah. Otherwise, again, that's the fun of it. That's what they were, simple as that. So if you go changing too much, you lose all that nostalgia and the fun. They were a rugged car 50 years ago and they're still a rugged car now. That's a better way to put it.
Well, I get the impression that they're extra rugged, Keith, because the condition of this is in the top 2 or 3% of cars here, and yet it goes out for race day. It's remarkable that you can keep it in such good condition.
I get told, why are you putting a car so expensive on the track? I said, well, it's no good sitting in the garage. You go over to Europe and they're running $30 million Ferraris on a track day, GTO Ferraris come out in 1962. There's only 36 of them made. All the rich people in Monaco and all those raced it on the tracks over there. If they smash it, they just tell someone else to pick it up and go and fix it. So not that I've got the money to do it, but in terms of that, no, it's no good sitting in the garage. It defeats the whole purpose.
Yep, I understand, but if I had a car like this, I probably would leave it in the garage and just go and have a beer and sit inside it, to be honest with you.
The part that frightens me is carjacking. That's the part that frightens me now. It's getting very prevalent now, so I'm always looking around like this. If I pull up a set of lights, I'm always looking to see who's around. So that's the biggest problem now. Theft is the problem. Not smashing it up, theft is the biggest problem. That's the biggest worry now, which is sad to say we have to come to this, but that's the way it is now.
Well, that's modern day Australia. This was built at a different time, and some would say, and I'm one of them, that it was a better time.
Honest area, simple as that. So it's sad we've got to be like that, but it's no good, again, no good sitting in the garage. If I sat down at home and lived in the garage, I'd be looking at it and saying, why aren't I out somewhere today or something like that. So if anything happens, I suppose it's the way it goes. I suppose at least if someone wants to take it, they can take it rather than stick a gun through my head. So
yeah. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, Keith.
Yeah,
but thanks for taking the time out to show us this car. Remarkable condition. Yeah. It's spotless. I love what you've done to it, even though you've done a few little modifications. You've kept it completely within keeping. And what I find remarkable is that this thing sees race days. Yep. And yet it looks like it's almost off the showroom.
Well, I don't go 10/10s. I go about 9/10s. That's the better way, I suppose. So,
so that's the trick to keeping a car looking good. Go 9/10s, not 10/10s.
Yeah, I'll brake a little bit earlier than normal. If someone wants to pass me on the corner on the braking, they can go for it. Simple as that. So,
what sort of cars do manage to get past you?
Little cars.
The little GT Cortinas, I'm thinking.
Yeah, Cortinas. Where was I? I was at Calder 2 years ago, and this Mini. He was way back for some reason. I thought he's going to be all right. I beat him down the main straight. Before I even looked in the mirror, he just went like that, past me in the corner, because I'd slowed down for the corner, of course, and he'd brake the last minute, and he just come around me like I couldn't believe, I was like, but he got, by the time a couple of laps, he was slowing down. I got him down the main straight again. So yeah, so
a bit of cat and mouse.
Yeah. Well, that's how they were. Minis, that's how they were.
Yeah, well, he'd say tortoise and the hare.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, but who was the victor on that particular occasion?
Wasn't a time day, so it was just a fun day. So it wasn't a time sprint or anything like that. It was just a fun day.
A dead heat between the tortoise and the hare.
Probably, yeah. Well, mate's got an XU1 to run it too, and two of us are always at each other's throat on the track. So it's bragging rights for the day. So yeah, but we enjoy it. That's the good part about it. Big smile across your face. That's the whole thing to do. So
yeah. Well, good on you, Keith.
Yeah.
It's people like you that look after these things and give me the pleasure to be able to come to a day like today and have a look at it and talk to you about it.
Glad to see you come along.
It's fantastic. Thanks again, Keith.
Terrific.
Good on you, mate. I hope to see you again one day.
All right, it's good. Yeah, we'll catch you around. Yeah,
Okay.
we're a good club. So yeah.
Okay. Good on you, mate.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Wild, young, and wonderful. New generation Holden.
The 68 Holden is at our showrooms now, and once you drive it, you'll know that this car is not just good, it's great. 5 minutes behind the wheel, and you'll know that this 68 Holden is a whole new thing in motoring. The new generation Holden.
There's a whole new world of pleasure waiting, a world you never knew. When the car is a new generation Holden and the driver is you, there's a bright new young